What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the MCW 6.8. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and with this gun, it's generally going to be a 3-shot kill. In fact, in the first 2 damage ranges, it's a guaranteed 3-shot kill anywhere in the body. However, in the minimum damage range at really long ranges, this is where you can still get a 3-shot kill as long as one of those shots hits the upper torso or arms. Then when it comes to headshot damage, while we can't get a 1-shot kill with this gun at all, mixing one headshot in with a shot anywhere else in the body will result in a 2-shot kill at any range. So it's still a very good idea whenever possible to try to mix that headshot in for that 2-shot kill. Next, let's have a look at our rate of fire, which is quite slow, but most of the marksman rifles are. This is 316 rounds per minute. And what this means for our time to kill potential is with that 3-shot kill, we're killing in 380 milliseconds, which is not a very good time to kill in this game. That's very noticeably below average. And this is why mixing that headshot in with a body shot for a 2-shot kill is often what you want to go for, because then we're now killing in 190 milliseconds, which is a very fast time to kill for this game. In either case, let's move on to our damage ranges, and as we can see here, we actually have a very impressive maximum damage range at about 47 meters. But then again, damage ranges don't really matter too much with this gun, since, like I said, it's a 3-shot kill potential at any range to the body, and a 2-shot kill as long as one of those shots hits the head at any range as well. Additionally, our bullet velocity is incredible at 1,016 meters per second. That is actually one of the fastest base bullet velocities in the entire game. And then let's just have a quick look at our hardcore stats. Of course, just like with all of the marksman rifles, this is going to be a 1-shot kill anywhere in the body at any range. Then let's have a look at Hipfire, and this gun is terrible when it comes to Hipfire, especially that maximum Hipfire spread at 12.1 degrees per second. That's one of the worst Hipfire values you'll see in this game. As for the next thing I want to take a look at, this is Recoil, and just like with all of the marksman rifles, this is quite an accurate gun. There's not much recoil here, although I should point out there is a little bit of a jump after the first shot that you fire, and then the grouping remains really tight, so just keep that in mind, especially at those really long ranges. You just want to be aware of that little jump after the first shot. Now let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight speed is the slowest in the marksman rifle category at 271 milliseconds. However, our sprint to fire time is actually a little bit better than average for marksman rifles at 217 milliseconds. Then taking a look at our reload add time, this is actually very fast at 1.37 seconds. And this is actually one of the nice upsides with this gun, is you can get that reload in very, very quickly. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, before we get into the conversion kit, let's have a look at the mobility stats. And while our base movement speed is a little bit below average when we're just walking, our sprint speed is actually a bit above average for marksman rifles in this game. Whereas our aim walking movement speed is pretty bad at 2.2 meters per second. And there we go, that wraps it up for all of the important base stats with the MCW 6.8. Now let's get into the aftermarket part, which is the full auto conversion kit. And with this kit, it does reduce our damage values across the board, especially our headshot damage values. Those are completely nerfed into oblivion with this. However, in saying that, it's still going to have a very consistent 3-shot kill in that maximum damage range. You just have to make sure one of those shots hits the upper torso or arms, which is pretty easy to do. Headshots are now pretty much useless. It'll never reduce it down to a 2-shot kill anymore. However, this does come with some big upsides, and the first upside is it's now full auto. And we can look at the new recoil pattern here. As you can see, there's definitely a lot more recoil in full auto, even though I'm firing 20 rounds rather than 10. But just know you will be very noticeably increasing your recoil, and I would say this isn't completely uncontrollable or unpredictable, but it's also not the type of recoil pattern that suggests that you can use this gun effectively at really long ranges. There are some pretty big jumps between those bullets, so definitely in your best interest to keep yourself in close to mid-range engagements with this kit. Additionally, with this, our rate of fire is increased up to 400 rounds per minute, which means our 3-shot time to kill potential is quite good now at 300 milliseconds. This is now going to be very competitive with the assault rifles in this game, at least up close. When you start stretching out the ranges, if you get a 4-shot kill, we are going to be killing quite slow now at 450 milliseconds. So overall, when it comes to the full auto conversion kit, I actually really like this on the MCW since we get a very consistently faster time to kill, at least in the maximum damage ranges. Obviously, if you use this kit, you should be keeping yourself in more close to mid-range engagements, but to me, in 6v6, that's fine because the vast majority of your gunfights will fall more within those close to mid-ranges. And there we go, it's now finally time to move into some excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys, and the first one I wanted to share is my accuracy build, which I'll admit, it's not really my favorite way to run this, but I wanted to provide that option for you guys that like using a long-range build. And with this one, we have the TA CG76 muzzle, the SL skeletal vertical underbarrel, the RB rapid strike rear grip, the RB Crotalus Assault Stock, and then finally the Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5x Optic. And with this build, you can see it's very accurate. We have cut down on that initial jump with the first shot fired, even though it still exists. But you can spam this at the maximum fire rate, even at really long ranges, and be quite accurate. Our aim down sight speed is a bit on the slower side, but still reasonable for a long range build at 322 milliseconds, and our sprint out time is actually improved a little bit at 207 milliseconds. When you combine this with the fact that this gun has an incredible bullet velocity by default, which we didn't touch at all with any of these attachments, that just makes this a pretty solid choice for those longer range engagements, as long as you can hit your shots consistently and try to mix that headshot in so you can get a 2-shot kill. As for the next build I'm going to share for you guys, this is my stealth build, and I much prefer using this build if I'm using the gun in semi-auto. With this, we're using the Huntsman Series R barrel, which has an integrated suppressor in it, so we're off the radar. We're once again using that SL skeletal vertical foregrip. That's just to cut down a little bit on that vertical recoil, especially with that first shot fired. We're using the 30-round mag on this, just so we don't have to be reloading constantly, and you can get a bunch of kills with a single magazine now. We're also using the SL Warforged Precision stock, and then finally the Mark III reflector for our optic. And this one's just a really nice, consistent build. Our aim down sight speed is very fast at 235 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also very slightly improved at 215 milliseconds. And overall, this is just a nice build for getting around the map a bit more aggressively, and it's a bit more spammable. You can get a bunch of kills with a single mag without having to reload. And this leaves us with one last build I wanted to share for you guys, and it turns out this is the one that I feel is best overall, at least for 6v6, and this is my full auto build. So of course we are using the full auto conversion kit here, combined with the XRK Kraken muzzle, the SL skeletal vertical underbarrel, the RB Crotalus assault stock, and then finally that Mark III reflector. And with this build, you can see we cut down nicely on the recoil compared to just using the conversion kit by itself. We now have a 20-round magazine, because that comes with the conversion kit. Our aim down sight speed is, again, a little on the slow side, but not too unreasonable at 307 milliseconds. It's just something you kind of have to play around a little bit. Our sprint out time's improved slightly at 207 milliseconds. And most importantly, when using this full auto conversion kit, when we get a 3-shot kill, we're now killing in 300 milliseconds. So as far as just consistency in time to kill to the body, this is a great way to use the MCW. If you don't want to mess around trying to make sure you're mixing a headshot in or anything, you just want to shoot your target in the body, this is an excellent way to use this gun. And it turns out to be actually fairly competitive with this particular setup. And there we go, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the MCW 6.8. As for my thoughts on this gun, honestly, I don't think it's completely terrible, but at the same time, I just don't really see much of a reason to use this over any of the other marksman rifles. I feel like all of the other marksman rifles really have something going for them, and this gun just doesn't, in my opinion. Like I said, it's not unusable. It's totally fine using it in semi-auto, trying to mix that headshot in. It can actually be pretty decent in that case. But if you're just hitting body shots, it's very noticeably below average, and you're going to be outgunned a lot by other guns in the game. However, the full auto conversion kit definitely makes this gun better for a lot of people, at least, if you just like hitting body shots. So it's a type of gun that definitely has some potential, but in most cases, you're just better off using something else. Of course, these are just my opinions on the MCW 6.8 though, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.